She changed direction, zigged and zagged, looked back over her shoulder at a man's shout, and nearly stumbled. She realized blood was snaking down her forehead and into her eye from the wound in her head. Allison staggered into the trees, breathing hard, fell to her knees behind a huge old oak, and swiped at the blood on her face. She looked at her hand, wet, sticky, the blood black in the moonlight. She felt a wave of nausea, and the world tilted sideways. She fell onto her side, hugging herself. She keened with pain and fear until she heard shouts and realized she couldn't stay there. The men were coming, running toward the woods, toward her. She had to move, had to hide or they'd see her, run her down and shoot her dead. Black, terrifying thoughts ricocheted through Allison's brain, of her parents dead in their bed, covered with blood, black like the blood on her hand and sliding down her face. Her parents. She could practically hear their voices, yelling at her to move, to get to safety. She pushed away the grief, staggered to her feet, and ran toward a familiar leaf-strewn trail through the forest that passed by the entrance to Williker's cave, tucked beneath an overhang of thick-leaved oak branches. She'd spent hours there, her own private hideaway when she was younger, but rarely now because she was 12, her first teenage birthday only 6 months away. She fell to her hands and knees when she reached the cave, lifted the brush covering it, crawled in through the narrow entrance, and pulled the brush back into place. It didn't matter that she couldn't see inside, because she knew the cave well, knew the narrow, winding stone corridor widened as it wove back into the hill, where the cave ceiling soared above her head. She mewled as she crawled into the ancient, threadbare blanket still in a tangle on the sand against the cave wall. Jumbled images came to her of herself as a child, hiding in her sanctuary, drinking forbidden Diet Coke and eating junk food, feeling cocky she'd fooled her mother. The ancient grocery bag she'd kept next to the blanket was still there, filled with her childhood treasures. She grabbed a Lenny Styles t-shirt from the bag that felt clean enough. She pulled off the tank top she'd worn to bed, wiped the blood off her face with it, and pressed it against the bloody wound on her head like they did on TV. Her arm wasn't bleeding much, but it throbbed like a nail trying to shove through her flesh. When the bleeding stopped, she pulled on the t-shirt and sank back against the cave wall. Her head was still spinning. She wanted to vomit, so she focused on the ancient grocery bag. She felt frozen, so afraid her breath came out in gasps. She felt a new pain. She looked at her bare feet, scratched and a few cuts oozing blood. She hadn't felt a thing on her wild run, but now... Wait, was that voices? Men's voices? She slapped her fist against her mouth to keep the sob quiet. They'd followed her. They were close. Would they see the cave opening through the leaves and the brush? She scooted backward into the cave, around a corner, and waited, unmoving. Then she heard sirens, but knew it was too late to help her parents. She heard the men's voices, knew they were closer. They'd find her. She was crying as she pressed her back against the cave wall. 2. Kings Canyon, Northern Territory, Australia.
It's all right, sweetheart. You're all right. You're safe. Come on, wake up. You had a nightmare. You're okay. I've got you.
She heard his voice, a man's voice, and he was close, too close. Terror squeezed her throat, made her heart kettle drum. The men were near, coming to kill her like they'd killed her parents. She fought like a wild thing, hitting at his arms, holding her. He held her tightly against him and continued to whisper against her cheek, his voice low and calm. Slowly she came awake, hiccuping at the knot of fear in her throat. She saw a dim face above her, a face she knew, a face she trusted. He was holding her, stroking her back as he continued to speak in his low, easy voice, saying nonsense really, reassuring her. Finally, she knew who it was. Another nightmare. Allison whispered, "Uncle Leo?"
Yes, baby, I'm here. It's all right. You're safe. I've got you.
"I'm sorry." Leo continued to hold her, lightly rubbed his hands up and down her back, slow and easy, like she was a wounded and terrified kangaroo joey tangled in a barbed wire fence.
Don't be daft. I'd have bloody nightmares too, if I'd been through what you have. That's right. Breathe deep. That's my girl.